Hi, I'm Catherine, the creator of Shia and the Jetsons Community Preservation of the Promised Land. This is for the Oklahoma Historical Society, all of the board of directors. This is attention to you, so I would like you to have a meeting to watch this video. So all of you guys on the board of directors should have a meeting about this situation right here. You have over 13 different historical sites that you guys are holding that would need to be forwarded over to me because it's, my rightful land, and my people, which is probably 40% of the population of the gingerbread population of my great grandparents would label us as gingerbread colored instead of black. So we would say gingerbread or copper colored. Well, it's 40% of that population that I'm referring to, 40% of my people. The rest are 60%, that's African Americans. African Americans are indigenous to Europe. All of Europe, they're indigenous too, and those are the ones that brought the Caucasian race here. So they brought you here. They brought all of the board of directors here to this country as, as slaves and criminals for the British crown. You guys were all, you just have to look up under Paul Revere. Paul Revere and the Revolution. You will understand how you guys came here as criminals and slaves. And in some instances, it was you guys came as creatures, like pet creatures for the Moors. It's just all in history. But anyway, okay. So what I'm referring to is the land deeds of my father in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So Stillwater, Oklahoma. My grandparents was removed from Tulsa, Oklahoma. So they lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but there was riots and we were being murdered out of our own communities, and that's why this video is addressed to you. The reason why the video is addressed to your company is because your company is the one that removed us from our homes. 640 acres is to each and every gingerbread colored person. That is stated on the treaty, the Dancing Treaty Act, 1830 Treaty Act of Dancing Rabbit Creek. And we have land deeds upon land deeds of us being removed. Now this one here in particular in Stillwater, Oklahoma, is where I want you to focus on. Now my last name is Urban, so J.D. Urban and Lily Urban is my grandparents. Now, if you can read it here, they were injured on their land. And because of that, the urban renewal is saying they have to be removed because they were injured on their own land. When you remove people, you shoot them out of their homes and you murder them, and then you say, since you're injured, you have to be removed anyway. And they blame it on, well, it's a hurricane, and since you were injured for the hurricane on your land, you have to be removed. And they owned 640 acres based on the treaty that was signed in 1830. Well, even though the treaty was signed and everything, it was broken because when they get the treaty, they're removed from that. So in the treaty of my grandmother has a treaty here. Here it is here. Now in the treaty it states the commissioner would ask her questions like, who are you? Where's your grandfather? And the reason why they would ask where her grandfather is at, to go and murder her grandfather, because her grandfather is probably the one that would own all the land. And he did. He practically owned half of Florida. Most of us came from Florida, and you pushed us up. Your people came in this war with the 13 colonies, Florida and Georgia, and we were just pushed up all the way up to Tennessee. To where my mother's people is from, but we're talking about my father's people at this particular time right here. So my father is Stillwater, Oklahoma, in which they removed from their 640 acres. So I'm basically saying that 40% of my people I'm speaking for because they're in the same predicament as me. So you would have to hand over 13 historical estates that you are already holding, and you're holding it and you're preserving it because you're supposed to preserve it, and it was good that you preserved it. But now it's time for you to hand it over to the rightful owner, and that's why you're getting this video here. Now, Governor Gavin, I'm in California. Governor Gavin Newsom and the mayor is supposed to be reviewing the reparation task force. This would coincide with the reparation here because 13 different promised land, I create the promised land, and I would need 13 different historical site areas. So that would be approximately of a small city, 13 of them in each state. California, Utah, 13 different states starting off, 13 different states. So Florida, Texas, California, Utah, Tennessee. It would have to go up to Canada as well. So we would have to go to Canada. And you are international, so it would start from Canada to South America and in between. But we're going to start with the 13 major states: California, Utah, Chicago, Tennessee, Florida, and Texas. And then some surroundings. Now, this would be based on the treaty, the 1830 Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek, in which the commissioner states that to my great grandmother, he was trying to explain to her what slavery is because we never been slaves. We were already here. So he had to explain to her what slavery is. And he had to explain to her what a treaty is. So he said, well, what happened to you? Because my grandmother was kidnapped. She says, well, I really don't know what happened. I was kidnapped. My parents I was kidnapped. And he said, well, let me explain to you what happened to you. During the September 10th, 1830, there was a treaty where we removed all the Negroes. It says it. We removed all the Negroes. Okay? Right here, page 5. And it explains exactly what they did. Now, they said because we removed you from your land, okay, because we removed you from your land, 640 acres is entitled to you because we removed you. This was in 1830. Now, after that happened and they were granted the, they were granted the estate, 640 acres to each Negro, they were then subjected to being even removed from that. And that's where the Oklahoma City bombing comes in because, it led up to that. We were being removed all throughout the Trail of Tears. It was, the Negro Trail of Tears, not the $5 Indians. They were not in it. That's why they're pushed up to the reservations because this is not their country. They're not indigenous here. Look at all my videos and you can see the evidence how none of the $5 Indians or white people, of course, or Chinese, they're not indigenous to America. You're indigenous to Russia and Mongolia. The Mongolia and the Caucasus Mountains is where you people are from, and you already know that. Okay, so part of the reparations would be where you would have to hand over 13 different historical sites that you guys are keeping. That's the whole point. And I can go ahead and email you all of the deeds, all of the treaties that was signed to my great grandparents. Now the treaties of Dancing Rabbit Creek, that was from Georgia, that was from Florida to Texas, because we're talking about Mississippi Choctaw is where on my father's side, now my mother's side, that's Chicago and California, because Chicago and California have the same tribes, and 13 different historical sites. You would have to relocate your office. Your Oklahoma Historical Society office would have to contact each and every state historical society, because each state has a historical society that you guys preserved, and you guys have grave sites. You guys have Ocean Beach property that you stole. There's all sorts of different historical sites that you stole that we need to be able to travel to learn what happened to us. We have that right. This is our identity that you stole, and we have the right to get it back. This is why we are subjected to homelessness, racial domestic violence, racial injustices, because we lost our identity. You guys are still holding the identity. So this is good that you guys preserved it. This is what's so good about it, because you guys actually preserved it. you guys are such savages. It just seems like you guys would destroy it and all of the evidence with it, but you didn't. You kept it, and it's good that you kept it because now it's our time to collect it. Now here is a guy named in your society, in your historical society, named T.S. Akers. Now he looks exactly like Elon Musk's brother, so it might be his brother in connection with that because he said he wanted to. Mentions that he wanted to buy Coca-Cola, in which we own Coca-Cola. We created Coca-Cola. And for him to say that, it's just some sort of coincidence that this man looks just like Elon Musk on your site here, your historical site, because you have all of you have Teresa Black on here, Bradway, you have Fredridge, we have Fred, you have Cheryl Evans, there's Jack D. Baker here, Randy Buford, or what's his name? Weatherford, Ken Ferguson. You have different, you have different names here. Here's the Stillwater lady. Her name is Ann Hargis, and then you have Karen Keith. Now she's from Tulsa, so you have these different people here that represent the site that you removed us from. Those are the sites that we need returned back to us. That's the whole point. Now, I would like to email you the documentation of the, the treaty acts that grants us each and every Negro 640 acres. Now, with that, what I do with my patent is that I distribute RV Jetsons to each and every gingerbread colored person. The RVs will allow them to travel to 13 different historical sites that you're holding. Right? So they'll to learn what happened to them. And these are theme parks that would be made into theme parks, starting with California, where I stay at right now, and starting at Oklahoma. So it would be Oklahoma, Texas, because there are other people who are victims of being removed from their home. All of the Negro people were removed. So there are people on my YouTube channel, on my social media platform, who are suffering from identity loss. Right? So they're suffering. If they don't have their identity, then they're suffering. They'll be subjected to be paying rent on their own land, food and water on their own land, which is an abomination. They can't do that. You can't force people that is indigenous on their own land to be paying food and water and being subjected to racial injustices. Okay, so when we have the oil, and now they granted the oil rights to us, but not the land. 640 acres is to us in this deed right here, in which the last page, my grandfather says that he wants his land. This is what they said that my grandfather alleges. See, they paid him $350 for his injuries. And he says, great, but I still want my land, though. See, he still wants his land. They said that he allegedly wants his land. That means he wants his land, and this man and my grandfather did not have a lawyer. You didn't appoint him a lawyer. Do you understand? You don't have a lawyer. You didn't give him a lawyer. So you took his land. You took everybody's land, and you're holding this land, and this is you. I don't want to really. This thing is loud when I move it. I don't want to keep moving this, just a tad bit. Okay, see, this is you. Okay, this is you. Okay, so I don't want to just keep moving this thing because this thing is pretty loud. Let's leave it at that. Okay, so now, it's just good that you guys have preserved it. Now it's time for the real people of their land to collect it. Okay, so you have to do the right thing by emailing me and saying, yes, you're right, forward over the deeds, and we will get you the property. It's 13 different sites, historical sites that I would like to pick out. And you would have to contact, and in fact, this video should be, because who's watching this? We have been sending our poster magazines and our flyers and our videos to the mayor and the governor, to NBC News, to ABC News, in which they had announced that they're going to start the reparations in California because of what we have been sending out the information to the news and to the governor that have to take heed to this. Because this is not your land, and I keep saying it over and over and over in my videos, showing you how it's not your land. That you guys, all the Caucasians came over here as criminals under Paul Revere's bloodline. So when the British were coming, they were coming to execute you. You were supposed to die here, not take over our land. And if you were supposed to die here and you settled, then just settle and mind your own business. But you didn't. You took us over and you took our land. So now I'm here, the rightful owners, letting you know to unask the land so that we can travel to different sites to figure out what happened to us, to gain back our identity that you stole. Okay? Okay. Now, so I'm going to end this, and I'll send this video to you. I have a proposal, which you don't need a proposal, but I'm going to give you the proposal anyway so that you can see, just to give you an idea of how we need to, we need the 13 historical sites to be set up. We need it to be set up to where we can travel to each and every one of them with our Jetsons, because we would make it into a theme park for us to travel through from state to state. So it'll be 13 in each state, starting in California, Oklahoma, simultaneously in Utah. So you would have to contact these people in each state. So you would contact, Ann, who represents Stillwater, and Karen, who represents Tulsa. All of you people who represent the Historical Society would have to call other Historical Society people in other states to let them know that we're going to travel to their state and we need 13 different ones. So they would have to get in contact with me to set that all up. And then I would refer the people that are in that state to the victims. So the victims would get in contact with you guys to set up their promised land in their state. Because there are victims who have been emailing me for 2 years that they need their own land because they're suffering from from police brutality and all sorts of things, government and stuff. So, okay, so we just have proof. We have mounds and mounds of proof over, to show you that you have to hand it over, and there's no way around that. Okay, there's no way around it. And my patent is designed for the Jetsons to fly like a submarine and all this stuff. That's why fly like a jet and go in the water like a submarine. So because it's designed to travel. Okay, to travel to different theme parks that we have, Promised Land theme parks that I created. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand why you're getting this video. Okay, because now when you get it and you try to ignore it, just know it's just going to increase. So you're just going to have to hurry up and answer it, because these videos are going to come back to you. And then the proposals are going to come to you from different people, not just me. I'll send you the video and then I'll send you the proposal. If you don't answer it, then other people will come and say, hey, did you answer Catherine? She did let you know that, you're on our land and we're going to need 13 different historical sites. So they're going to let you know that. I'm just letting you know. Okay, so I'm going to end it, and I just wanted to send that out. So thank you to my Patreon people, to my YouTube subscribers that subscribe. So also to my YouTube subscribers, please email these people. I'm going to leave a link to their email so you can tell them, yes, look at Catherine's video. It's very important that you guys have a meeting about it, so that you can look at the proposal and that you can look at the deeds that we have, because other people have deeds, right? And you really don't need to see the deed. You need to just hand over the resources to me so that I can distribute it out to the people properly. Because evidently you guys don't know what you're doing. For 400 years you've been holding it, and you're supposed to unleash it way before. So evidently I'm in charge of this, because you guys don't know what you're doing. You're just holding it, and you're going to have to let it go. Let it go to the rightful owner, which is me, us, my people. Okay, I'll end it, and I'll make a video later for my Patreon. But thank you so much for my Patreon people, and I'll send this right away. Okay.